हॅलो फ्रेंड्स, राणा अकॅडमी या यूट्यूब चॅनलवरती आपणा सर्वांचं स्वागत आहे. आपण स्टार्ट केली आहे महाराष्ट्र स्टेट बोर्डची वन शॉर्ट सिरीज, ज्यामध्ये आपण कव्हरअप करत आहोत महाराष्ट्र स्टेट बोर्डचा सिलेबस. आपण अगोदर पाहिला बायो फिजिक्स केमिस्ट्रीचा. त्यानंतर आपण बायोलॉजीला सुरुवात केली 11th क्लासच्या. 11वीची बायोलॉजी पाहिल्याच्या नंतर आपण पाहणार आहोत केमिस्ट्री 11वीची, आणि 11वीची बायोलॉजीच्या नंतर आपण पाहणार आहोत 12वीची बायोलॉजी. 11th क्लास बायोलॉजीच्या नंतर आपण पाहणार आहोत 12th क्लास बायोलॉजी. तर प्लीज जर तुम्ही या चॅनलवरती नवीन आला असाल तर प्लीज या चॅनलला सबस्क्राईब करा, जेणेकरून तुम्हाला आमचे नवीन नवीन व्हिडिओज पाहता येतील आणि तुम्हाला याचं बेनिफिट पण होईल. जेणेकरून महाराष्ट्र स्टेट बोर्डचे प्रत्येक चॅप्टर आपण या सिरीजमध्ये कव्हरअप करणार आहोत. महाराष्ट्र स्टेट बोर्ड सिलेबस एकाच चॅप्टरसाठी एक व्हिडिओ सेपरेट बनवण्यात येईल या यूट्यूब चॅनलवरती. तरी तुम्ही या यूट्यूब चॅनलला सबस्क्राईब करून ठेवा. चला तर मग आपण पुढे पाहूया. प्लांट टिश्यू अँड ॲनाटॉमी चॅप्टर आहे आपला प्लांट टिश्यू अँड ॲनाटॉमी महाराष्ट्र स्टेट बोर्डचा आपण अगोदर सिलेबस पाहिला. त्यानंतर आपण बायोलॉजीला सुरुवात केली. 11th क्लासची बायोलॉजी आपण स्टार्ट केली आहे. 11th क्लासच्या बायोलॉजीमध्ये एकाच व्हिडिओमध्ये एक चॅप्टर आपण कव्हरअप करत आहोत. आता नेक्स्ट चॅप्टर आहे आपला प्लांट टिश्यू अँड ॲनाटॉमी. जर पाठीमागचे व्हिडिओज तुम्हाला पाहायचे असतील ना तर तुम्ही या चॅनलवरती जाऊन तुम्ही पाहू शकता. चला तर मग नेक्स्ट आता नंतरच पाहूया. जर तुम्ही आमच्या चॅनलला काही डोनेशन काही देऊ शकत असाल तर प्लीज आम्हाला आमच्या चॅनलला सपोर्ट करण्यासाठी तुम्ही काही देणगी देऊ शकत असाल तर प्लीज तुम्ही द्या, जेणेकरून आम्हाला आमच्या चॅनलला बेनिफिट होईल आणि तुम्हाला पण नवीन नवीन व्हिडिओज पाहता येतील. आमच्या यूट्यूब चॅनलवरती राणा अकॅडमी या यूट्यूब चॅनलवरती तुम्हाला पण नवीन नवीन व्हिडिओज पाहता येतील, जेणेकरून तुमचा पण फायदा होईल आणि आम्हाला पण काही डोनेशन द्यायची जर तुमची इच्छा असेल तर तुम्ही ह्या नंबरवरती देऊ शकता. रीना गुलाबसिंह सोलंकी, अकाउंट नंबर 03232101222131, IFSC कोड IPOS 000001. चला तर मग नंतर बघूया. आता आपण पाहिला आधी प्लांट टिश्यू अँड ॲनाटॉमी हा टायटल आहे आपल्या चॅप्टरचा. त्याच्यानंतर महाराष्ट्र स्टेट बोर्डचा सिलेबस आहे 11th क्लासचा. त्यानंतर आपण पाहिलं काही डोनेशन देऊ शकत असाल तर हा आमचा अकाउंट नंबर आणि IFSC कोड आहे. जर याच्यावरती तुम्हाला काही आम्हाला देणगी द्यावीशी वाटत असेल तर प्लीज या नंबरवरती तुम्ही देणगी देऊ शकता आमच्या चॅनलला. चला नेक्स्ट बघूया. प्लांट टिश्यूज अँड ॲनाटॉमी. टिश्यू ॲनाटॉमी इज द स्टडी ऑफ इंटरनल स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ऑर्गॅनिझम. ॲनाटॉमी हे काय आहे? आतील स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ ऑर्गॅनिझमची अभ्यास करण्याच्या पद्धतीला आपण ॲनाटॉमी म्हणतो. ऑर्गन्स आर मेड अप ऑफ ग्रुप्स ऑफ सेल्स. ऑर्गन्स हे कशापासून बनलेले असतात तर ग्रुप्स ऑफ सेल्सपासून बनलेले असतात. अ ग्रुप ऑफ सेल्स हॅव्हिंग इसेन्शियली अ कॉमन फंक्शन अँड ओरिजिन इज कॉल्ड अ टिश्यू. जे ग्रुप ऑफ सेल्स असतात त्यांना कॉमन फंक्शन आणि ओरिजिन असते. कॉमन फंक्शन अँड ओरिजिन इज कॉल्ड टिश्यू. ग्रुप ऑफ सेल्स असतात ज्याला कॉमन फंक्शन आणि ओरिजिन असते त्यांना आपण टिश्यू म्हणतो. प्लांट टिश्यूज आर grouped as meristematic tissue and permanent tissue on the basis of its ability to divide. Meristematic tissue, it is a group of young cells. These are living cells with ability to divide in the regions where they are present. These are polyhedral or isodiametric. Its shape without intercellular spaces. Cell wall is thin, elastic, mainly composed of cellulose. Protoplasma is dense with distinct nucleus at the center of vacuoles. If present, are very small. Cells show high rate of metabolism. These cells are immature. Figure 8.1 meristematic cells. Classification of meristem. Following criteria are used for classification of meristems. Wise origin, function and position as follows. Origin: primordial meristem and parameristem is also called the embryonic meristem, usually occupying very minute area at the tip of root and shoot. Primary meristems originate from the primordial meristem primordial meristems and occurs in the plant body from the now beginnings. At the root and shoot apices, cells are dividing and different permanent tissues are produced from primary meristems. Secondary meristems. Tissues develop from living permanent tissues during later stages of plant growth. Hence are called the secondary meristems. This tissue occurs in the secondary meristems. Now, this tissue occurs in the mature regions of root and shoot of many plants. Secondary meristem is always lateral to the central axis in primary position. Example: fascicular cambium, interfascicular cambium, cork cambium position. At the apical meristem is produced from promeristem and forms growing point of apices of root, shoot, and their lateral branches. It brings about increase in length of plant body and called the apical initials. Shoot apical meristem is terminal in position, whereas in root cap intercalary meristematic tissue is present in the top of or base area of node. Their activity is mainly seen in monocots. These are short-lived. Figure 8.2 locations of meristematic tissues. Lateral meristem is present along the sides of central axis of organs. It takes part in increasing girth of stem or root. Example: intrafascicular cambium. It is found in vascular bundles of gymnosperms and angiosperms. Functions: young growing regions of the plant has a protoderm that forms protective covering like an epidermis around the various organs. Meristem called a procambia is involved in developing primary vascular tissue, while the other structures like cortex, endodermis, pericycle, medullary with pith are formed from the regions of ground meristem. These are three groups of meristems based on the function. Permanent tissue. This is a group of cells which have lost of the capacity of division and acquired permanent size, shape, and functions. It is due to different morphological, physiological, and functional changes that occur during maturation of the cell, depending upon types of cells. Now, there are two types as simple and complex permanent tissues. Simple permanent tissues, these are made up of only one type of cells carrying similar functions. This means this tissue is either living or dead. Now, following are the types of simple permanent tissues, namely paramecium, parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma. Cells within this tissue are thin, walled, isodiametric, round, oval, or two, polygonal, and elongated in shape. Cell wall is composed of cellulose. Cells are living with prominent nucleus and cytoplasm with large vacuole. This is less specialized prominent tissue. Parenchyma has distinct intercellular spaces. Sometimes cells may show compact arrangement. The cytoplasm of adjacent cells is interconnected through plasmodesmata and thus forms continuous tissue. Their cells are distributed in all the parts of the plant. Mesophyll wise: epidermis, cortex, and pericycle, pith, mesophyll cells, endosperm, xylem, and phloem. These cells store food, water, help in gaseous exchange, and different increase buoyancy, perform body differentiation in parenchyma. Cells develop vascular cambium and cork cambium at the time of secondary growth. Figure 8.3 Simple permanent tissue. Collenchyma, it is a simple permanent tissue made up of all living cells. The cell wall is cellulosic but shows uneven deposition of walls may show presence of beads. The cells are similar like parenchyma containing cytoplasm, nucleus and vacuoles but small small in size and without intercellular gaps. Thus appears to be compactly packed. The cells are either be compactly packed. The cells are either circular, oval, or angular in transverse section. Serves different functions in plants. It gives mechanical strength to young stem and parts like petal of leaf. It allows bending and pulling of leaf, growth of organs, and elongation are other functions. Well, a color is usually usually absent in monocots and roots of the dicots. Sclerenchyma, it is simple permanent tissue made up of compactly arranged thick-walled dead cells. The cells are living at the at the time of production, but at maturity they become dead. As cells are devoid of cytoplasm, they are thickened walls are due to uniform reposition of lignin. Cells remain interconnected through several pits. It is of two types wise fibers and sclerites. Fibers are thread-like, elongated and narrow structures with the tapering and interlocking and walls. These are mostly in bundles. Pits are narrow, unbranched, and oblique. They provide mechanical strength. Sclerites are usually broad with blunt and walls. They occur singly or in loose groups, and their pits are dropped deep branched and straight. These are developed due to secondary thickening of parenchyma cells and provide stiffness only. Figure 8.5 Sclerenchyma. This tissue functions as the main for mechanical tissue that permits bending, shearing off, and pulling. It gives rigidity to leaves and prevents it from falling. It also gives rigidity to epicarps and seeds. Commercial fibers are also produced from sclerenchyma fibers, example jute, flax, and hemp. Complex permanent tissues. These tissues are heterogeneous, comprising of more than one type of cells and all functions as a single unit. This tissue is involved in conducting the sap and food from source or to sink area. Xylem and phloem are the complex tissues present in the plants. Xylem, it is a dead complex tissue. Components of xylem are tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma, and xylem fibers. Xylem tissue, figure 8.6 A and B, vascular tissue, vascular bundle. The xylem also provides mechanical strength to the plant body. Tracheids and vessels conduct water and minerals. These are also known as and petridophytes and gymnosperms. Tracheids are conducting elements and vessels in angiosperms. Seleucinella, pteridophyte, and Newton gymnosperm show presence of vessels. Tracheids are elongated, tubular, and dead cells. The ends are oblique and tapering. The cell walls are unevenly thickened and lignified. This provides mechanical strength, tracheates and contribute 95% of wood in gymnosperm and 5% in angiosperms. The different types of thickening patterns are seen on their walls, such as annular in the form of rings, spiral in the form of spring, helix, scalariform, ladder-like, pitched, and most advanced type, small circular area, which may be simple or bordered vessels. Vessels are larger than tracheids with perforated or dissolved ends and formed by a union of several vessels and end to end. These are and involved in These are involved in conduction of water and minerals. Their lumen is wider than tracheids, and the thickening is due to the lignin and similar to tracheids. The monocots vessels are rounded, whereas they are angular in dicot angiosperms. The first formed xylem vessels, protoxylem, are small and have either annular or spiral thickening, while later formed have larger vessels. Metaxylem have reticulate and pitted thickenings. When protoxylem is arranged towards pith and metaxylem towards periphery, it is called as endarch. Example in stem, and when the position is reversed as in the roots, it's called as exarch. Figure 6.7 tracheids. Xylem parenchyma cells are small, associated with the tracheids and vessels. Now, this is the only living tissue among the complex, sometimes teenage. The parenchyma are involved in lateral and radial conduction of water or sap. Xylem fibers are sclerenchymatous cells and serve mainly mechanical support. These are called wood fibers. These are also elongated, narrow, and spindle-shaped cells are tapering, or both the ends of their walls are lignified phloem. This is the living tissue. It is also called as bast. Phloem is responsible for conductions of organic food material from source, a leaf generally, to a sink, other plant parts. Phloem was named as Krypton, while Haverland as similar as to xylem on the basis of origin. It is proto and meta laterally formed phloem. It is composed of sieve cells, sieve tissue tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, and phloem fibers. Figure 8.8 phloem. Sieve tubes are long, tubular conducting channel of phloem. These are placed end to end with bulging at the end walls. The sieve tube has a sieve plate formed by septa with small pores. The sieve plates connect protoplast of adjacent sieve tube cells. The sieve tube cell is a living its nuclear as maturity. The sieve tube cell is connected to companion cell through probed phloem parenchyma by plasmodesmata. Sieve cells are found in lower plants like pteridophytes and gymnosperms. The cells are narrow, elongated with tapering ends and sieve area located laterally. Companion cells are nerve elongated and living. These cells are laterally associated with few tube elements. Companion cells have dense cytoplasm and prominent tissue nucleus. Figure 8.9 phloem tissue. Nucleus of companion cell regulates functions of sieve tube cells through simple pits. Now, from origin point of view, sieve tube cells and companion cells are derived from same cell. And death of the one results in death of the other type. Phloem parenchyma cells are living, elongated, fixed, found associated with sieve tube and companion cells. The chief function is to be store food, latex, resins, mucilage, etc. The cells carry out lateral conduction of food materials. These cells are absent in the most of the monocots. Phloem fibers, they are only dead tissue. Among these units, there are pascalin gametes, generally absent in primary phloem but present in secondary phloem. These cells are with lignified walls and provide mechanical support. These are used in making ropes and rough clothes. Tissue system. Plant tissues are derived from meristems and their structure and functions depend on the position. On the basis of their structure and location, three types of tissue systems are present, that is epidermal tissue, epidermal tissue system, ground tissue system, and vascular tissue system. Figure 8.10 epidermal tissue system, figure 8.11 epidermal tissue system, epidermal cells. Epidermal tissue system, it forms the outer covering of plant body and is derived from protoderm and dermatogen. The two types of structures are seen in epidermal tissues, and device epidermis and epidermal appendages. Epidermis is the outermost protective cell layer made up of compactly arranged cells without intercellular spaces. Cells show presence of central large vacuole, thin cytoplasm and nucleus. The outer side of the epidermis is often covered with the waxy, thick layer called the cuticle, which prevents the loss of water. It may bear hairs. The root epidermis has root hairs. These are unicellular, elongated, and involved in absorption of sap from the soil. In stem epidermis hair and called trichomes. Ground tissue system, vascular tissue system. Figure 8.12 vascular bandas, secondary growth in plants, formation of cambium ring, secondary growth in dicot stem, secondary growth in roots, wood, cork cambium, and secondary growth. Anatomy of root, stem, leaf, anatomy of dicot root, TS of dicot root, anatomy of monocot root, anatomy of dicot stem, anatomy of monocot stem, anatomy of leaf, dorsiventral leaf, typical root dicot leaf, upper epidermis, mesophyll, vascular system, lower epidermis, isobilateral leaf, typical monocot leaf. अँड एक्झरसाईजचा आपण सेपरेट व्हिडिओ पाहणार आहोत. प्रत्येक चॅप्टरच्या पाठीमागे जे एक्झरसाईज दिलेली असते त्याचे आपण सेपरेट व्हिडिओज पाहणार आहोत ह्याच्यानंतर वन शॉर्ट सिरीज खतम झाल्याच्या नंतर. तर तुम्हाला पहिल्यापासून सूचना प्लांट टिश्यू अँड ॲनाटॉमी हे आपण चॅप्टर पाहिला आताच एकाच व्हिडिओमध्ये आपण कव्हरअप करणार आहोत प्रत्येक चॅप्टरला एका व्हिडिओमध्ये. चला तर मग नाव दिलेलं आहे रीना सोलंकी, अकाउंट नंबर दिलेला आहे 032901122131, IFSC कोड दिलेला आहे IPOS 00000001. तर तुम्हाला काही डोनेट करायची इच्छा असेल तर आमच्या चॅनलला तर इथे तुम्ही डोनेट करू शकता. तर तुम्ही या चॅनलला आल्याबद्दल तुम्हाला धन्यवाद. प्लीज लाईक शेअर अँड सबस्क्राईब. थँक्यू सो मच फॉर वॉचिंग.